VJ, we had one major upset so far and one top 10 matchup this weekend. I think the only thing that was upsetting about that in terms of everything was me and you watching Michigan get pushed around at the line of scrimmage. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Michigan and Texas, or do you want to start with Notre Dame and Northern Illinois?
Well, before that, let me start at saying hello to everybody out there in radio listening land, man. Fox Sports Radio, Martin and VJ. Glad to be here as always. As far as where I want to start, Ian sent the text message that was bothersome to us earlier about our rundown today, where he actually thought to even say to us, if you and Martin want to avoid Michigan and Texas, as if we can't take L's. Now, I know we've been dominant in college football the last 3 years, especially going undefeated and winning the national championship. Wrong soundbite. Winning the national championship last year. And everybody, today, that Martin, was the day that everybody that's not a Michigan fan or doesn't like Harbaugh was sitting in bated breath waiting for Michigan to lose today.
Look what it looks like without Connor Stallions.
Exactly.
Look what it looks like.
Well, guess what? What it looks like without Connor Stallions is going up to Penn State, whooping that ass, and then going to Maryland and whooping that ass, and then going to Ohio State, beating them 3 years in a row, and then winning the national championship game, beating Nick Saban, beating Washington. That's what it looks like without Connor Stallions. We have 13 players that are suiting up tomorrow in the NFL that were drafted last year, okay? There's a lot of talent left. Now, that's not to take away from Texas. Texas looked pretty damn good today. They have a legitimate quarterback. It looks like Sark might get the monkey off his back. They got a good team. They got a veteran offensive line. And Joel Klatt said something that was almost perfectly said. He said, this reminds me of what Michigan looked like last year. They have all veteran, big offensive linemen that are going to get drafted. They have a veteran NFL caliber quarterback. They have NFL caliber running back. They have skill position players, and they have a really good defense, and they got a really great coach. So it looks like what Michigan looked like last year. Michigan wasn't favored to win the game today. Some things I saw, though, and the one thing I'll point out, too, is the quarterback position, Martin. I am thoroughly upset, not at just Sharon Moore, but at Alex Orji. Alex Orji is a kid that I followed in high school, and when we signed him, I was all excited about him because he's so big, 6'4", 6'5", 235, 240. And I'm like, man, did we just find not Cam Newton, but a Cam Newton type of player that you can get behind?
Right. Well, at those measurements, you're looking at, and these are the top of the tops, but you're looking at Cam Newton, Josh Allen,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Those Anthony Richardson, these big hulking linebacker quarterbacks,
Jalen Milroe. Right, that looks like a linebacker. He looks like a linebacker, but he plays quarterback. And even today, running the ball, bad decision-making on the RPOs, running into defenders, not finding a hole, just thinking he can lower his shoulder and just run through guys. This is Texas, homeboy. They got NFL guys. They got what we call dudes in this business, and when you're in the football world, they got guys, okay? This isn't Wisconsin. This isn't Minnesota. This isn't Indiana. This isn't Illinois. This was a national contender, the number 3rd-ranked team in the nation coming in today, and Michigan has quarterback problems. That's not going to change all year long because neither one of these guys are going to get any better. Michigan could be looking at 2, maybe 3 losses after what I saw today and last week. That's where I would go with it with Michigan. But hats off to Texas, man. Good win. You were favored. You went in there. You whooped ass like you're supposed to do when you got an opponent down. They kicked them and kicked them and kicked them. It's up to Michigan to get up, and they didn't today. And I can eat that as a fan. So congrats to Texas, but Michigan's got quarterback issues.
Well, here's the thing. Michigan didn't, Michigan lost Connor Stallions. That's why they lost. They also graduated 18 seniors, right? And 18 seniors who were making plays. Mikey Sandestrel, J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, right? Glasgow, this offensive lineman, right? That's why part of the reason why last year, quote unquote, was the last dance. Because everybody was graduating.
Yeah, everybody was leaving.
That class was graduating. Yeah. But I will say this. And I think it's more of an indictment on Jim Harbaugh than it is on Sharon Moore, even though Sharon Moore is the one dealing with it.
Oh, I think I might know where you're going. Go ahead, though.
In the era of the transfer portal, there's no excuse to not have a quarterback.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no excuse to not have a quarterback.
I agree with that.
There's one thing. It's one thing if you went out and you tried and it didn't work out. Riley Leonard, I think he was a really good college quarterback. He played terrible today for Notre Dame.
2 picks today.
terrible for Notre Dame. But you know what you can't say that Notre Dame didn't try to do?
Oh, yeah.
Improve the quarterback position, right? The year before that, Notre Dame, Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Look at the teams that were in the college football playoff last year. Michael Penix, transfer. Quinn Ewers, transfer. Right?
Heisman Trophy winner. How about him?
Right. Transfer.
Yep.
So, guys, the transfer quarterback thing is working.
Yep.
Right? What are we doing here where you're going to go ahead and start a fifth-year walk-on, all due respect?
No, he's not good.
But let's be honest.
He's not good.
There's a reason why in the first 5 years he didn't get any playing time.
Yep.
And why, coming out of high school, you have to walk on somewhere.
Yep.
Right? This is not a Baker Mayfield story. Right? Or, the orgy kid, how bad can it throw and be? How bad can it be?
Why hasn't it gotten better is my question. That's the part I'm upset about why aren't you better?
I remember Denard Robinson winning games at Michigan, throwing arm punts.
Yeah, yes.
If you have two quarterbacks that aren't good, and one of them is 6, and they're both 6'3", 6'4", 220, but one of them runs like a running back, and the other one doesn't, you play the one that runs. Yep. Now, on the Texas side of things, this is a team like Michigan. This is a team like Michigan's like TCU last year. They lost a ton of people, lost a ton of talent. But Texas walked into Ann Arbor and beat Michigan the way that Michigan had been. You said it the way that Michigan had been beating people up front.
Yep.
The demoralization from moving grown men against their will is why Texas won that game. Quinn Ewers wasn't spectacular.
No, he played good. He wasn't spectacular.
But let's say hypothetically speaking, he's there in New York at the end of this, for the Heisman ceremony. There will be no highlights from this game, right? There will be no highlights from this game in that highlight package. But the way that Michigan got pushed around up front, and the way that Michigan was undisciplined, a lot of these penalties. That gave me a big cause for concern on the week-by-week, day-by-day planning and preparation for this team. But Texas, I think, this might be the best Texas team that we have seen since Vince Young.
I'm with you there since VY, and they mentioned that today. 143-80 was the rushing today. And that just doesn't happen to Michigan. But when it happens to Michigan, this is when okay, something's a myth. In the defense today just seemed like they were in position, but not in position. I think you can see a guy in the screen. Win. Yeah, no, they did play well enough to win, but there were also a few drives where third down, they completed, I think, 7 of their first 8 third downs, 8 for their first 10. You, as a defense, that's on you, whether you have a quarterback or not. Your stat of third down defensive percentage is on you. That's got nothing to do with the offense. That's got nothing to do with the quarterback. And they converted 8 of their first 10. That's on you. And then also something else Michigan's been doing lately, I would like to see them change. We've been able to rotate guys. There's been a rule, if you guys don't know. Michigan was not playing their defensive linemen more than 25 to 27 plays a game. That included Aiden Hutchinson, guys. They were rotating guys in because they had so many guys. They don't have that now. And when I'm watching Grant and Graham go off the field, and now you're playing guys that they've got some playing time, but so did Grant and Graham when they start first getting playing time. But you see what they've developed into. There's not a kid backing those two guys up that's going to turn into those two guys. So when you take those two guys off the field in a game like today, and you're getting, and Sark sees it. He's a great offensive mind. He starts running right at where you just put the fresh guys in that don't have the experience. They need to change the philosophy and go to both those guys and say, hey, look, for our defense to hold up the way it needs to, we have to kind of abandon that whole play rule for you two. You two, unless you need water, you need a breather, cool. But for the most part, I need you in the A gap, I need you in the B gap, and we'll just flip you guys from the A and the B gap. And we have to fix this and stop teams that think that they can run on this. But once again, they weren't favored to win today. So Texas did what they were supposed to do. You have an opponent you're supposed to beat, go beat them, and don't make no damn apologies about it, and tell them about it while you're doing it. That doesn't offend me as a fan. Hey, we took an L today. It's all good. But there are some issues I think they need to fix. Last one, too. He's not the ball carrier I'm used to seeing at Michigan. I come from a long line of watching Michigan running backs. Donovan Edwards he fit perfectly as a backup. I just can't see him as an RB1. He tiptoes too much and he dances. And he dances hit the hole. But when you're the starter, you can't,
Well,
I think he's overthinking it.
The thing with Edwards, they say the biggest complaint that they have with Donovan Edwards is that he doesn't take enough time to set up his blocks. But ultimately, when your quarterback can't complete a 5-yard pass,
you got to run, man.
Well, not only do you have to run, but I have trouble blaming the running back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have trouble blaming the running because it's not open. There's literally 11 guys in the box when you play Michigan right now. Yeah. There's 11 guys in the box when you play Michigan right now.
That's ugly.
And think about last week. If Will Johnson didn't pick 6 that ball, it would have been a 1-score game against Fresno State.
I was hot last week. I didn't feel last week. I was like, hold on, bro. And Fresno State 9-10 wins. Okay, they're not they're not Northern Illinois.
Speaking of Northern Illinois, let's touch on that real quick. Another loss for Marcus Freeman. There's the sick part. Congratulations, all you sickos, won the 12-team playoff. Guess what? I'm here to tell you right here, right now. Notre Dame goes undefeated for the rest of the season. They'll be in the 12-team playoff with the loss to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, I just thought today was just a microcosm of what Notre Dame has been recently. If you even go back and look at that game last week, they Texas A&M pretty much handed them that game. They could be 0-2 right now, but to lose at home to Northern Illinois and have your quarterback turn the ball over, and they drive right down the first drive of the game, boom, 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 touchdown, and it feels like, okay, they got the big win in College Station, and now they're home, opening home game. Yeah, they might walk through this, but the more you're watching this game, it's like, wow, they're not winning really up front, and wow, the running back broke a long run on them, and their long run running back hurdled a guy to go score their touchdown, and that's been pretty much the offense. But once again, quarterback play. If you do not have a quarterback, you have zero shot in a competent quarterback, and one can't throw 2 picks in a home game. I feel sorry, honestly, for Freeman because I do believe they're going to end up firing him.
Yeah.
They're going to end up firing him.
This year is a make it or break it year.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, this is not the way to start a make it or break it year. But like I said, I fully believe they go undefeated for the rest of the way. They're in the playoffs.
No, yeah, they'll be in the playoffs. But, it depends on how far they fall out right now because that's big to lose to Northern Illinois at home. Yeah. They could fall out of the top 20.
Yeah, but
and then I don't think they climb back. Even if they win the rest of the games, I don't think they climb back to 12.
Look at that schedule. I got a feeling. And plus, too, if there's anything I've known about big-time college football, it's that they always make sure that the most deserving team is advancing into the postseason, not the one that will get the most numbers and not the one that will get the most ratings.
We got to have Rudy in there.